Hi, you're listening to Oh Crap with Jamie. This is a podcast for parents working hard to break the cycles while dropping the F-bomb a lot. I'm your host, Jamie Glowacki, and I am the author of Oh Crap Potty Training and Oh Crap I Have a Toddler. And I am so happy you're here.
Hey guys, welcome. I want to talk a little bit, just a tiny bit about that health conference that I went to. If you get my newsletter, you know that I met my hero, Mark Sisson, and that was a funny little story that I'll tell in a minute. If you don't get my newsletter, you should. You can go to my website and sign up for it. But I also want to talk about some summer warnings a little ahead of time because I know we're creeping into summer very quickly. And I also want to talk a little bit about like the whole slow summer notion that we're about to be barraged with on social media. So first, the health conference I went to was spectacular. And I had in the hormone issue episode, part 2, I had talked about going to this conference and potentially meeting my hero, Mark Sisson, who I credit with like saving my life 17 years ago. And as luck would have it, this conference, there were no meet and greets after the days of speakers. So these conferences are really cool because like there's vendors, so you get to try all these things. And this was a metabolic health conference with kind of a focus on longevity. There were quite a lot of people speaking on menopause, which is great. And I'll give you some highlights in a sec. But there's also like a lot of biohacking, like red light therapy, cold plunge sauna, minerals, vitamins, supplementations, that kind of thing. So, there's free samples galore. My pee has never been so yellow. I was so over mineralized and I got like a vitamin IV drop. I got to try a hyperbaric chamber, a PEMF map that was like to die for. These things are super pricey, but oh my God, it's definitely on my list of like save up to get because it was like, I think I was on it for 12 minutes and it completely relaxed me in a way I've never been relaxed in my life. And one of the things I wanted to talk very briefly about that I had talked about in that hormone episode was a game changer for me has been blue blockers. And it's one of those things that I'm fairly skeptical. I'll try anything, but I tend to go with the basics. I'm not so into this like fine tuning things or, if you get good sleep, you get outside, you'll move your body in some way. I think you're taking care of 90% of the stuff. So I'm pretty skeptical, even though I will try anything. And so the blue blockers I think I had talked about is that I tried, some just kind of cheap ones from Amazon just to see if it moved the dial, and it really did. So now I invested in a pair that I got Viva Rays, no affiliation with them yet. I'll try. I can maybe get you guys a code. They're a little bit pricey, but I knew it'd be an investment. And these come with, I got an aviator style with 3 lenses that clip on. So there's amber, orange, and red. And these are powerful. And they even say the red ones will have you sleeping in like 10 minutes. And it's so true. You put on the red ones and your body is just like, okay, good night. It's time for bed. And so it's been awesome. But I want to tell you the best thing about these glasses was flying. So I went to Austin and the airport. It completely changed my travel experience. You know how when you fly, even if you stay hydrated, even if you don't eat shit airport food, like even if you are by yourself without kids, right? It always leaves you a little bit drained, and it leaves you just like you've been breathing that like recirculated air. And I just felt it there was not a blip on the screen. I felt fantastic. So I highly suggest that, like blue blockers in the airport and the airplane. And it really helped at the conference center because it's like this enormous conference center with like horrible lights. So that was a game changer. And I really have become a huge believer. And if you don't know, we kind of went over this before, but blue light signals to your body. It's part of the spectrum of the rainbow, right? And of UV light, and the highest amount of blue light is around noon. So the blue light that emits from our light signals to our body that it's noon. And that's why people, I think, are having so many problems sleeping. I mean, in addition to scrolling our phones and, stress and being up late, that kind of thing. But it really was impactful. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, especially if you travel a lot or if you're traveling this summer. So I'll tell the quick story in case you don't get my newsletter. So there was no meet and greet. Mark Sisson was the last speaker to speak at on the first day. And again, if you don't know him, if you're familiar with Primal Kitchen condiments, he really is the godfather of the primal paleo movement. And I discovered him 17 years ago. And so he gave a talk and he was awesome. He was very much in the camp of like, hey guys, let's chill out and just go back to basics. So it was kind of refreshing. And then there was no meet and greet. And I just kind of the reason I went to this conference is like, I just want to like shake his hand. And so I did what any self-respecting older woman would do. I stalked out the back entrance to the stage till he came out and I like accosted him. Unfortunately, I also got so overwhelmed with emotion, I started to cry and I lost all my coherent words. And so I was just like a blubbering mess. And he just stopped and he said, hey, let me give you a hug. I was like, okay, thank you. And then he said, walk with me. I have to catch a plane, but walk with me. So I kind of was able to slow down and I was able to tell him my story, and he gave me another hug and took a picture with me, and I was thrilled, even though I was like mortified afterwards. I lost all my skills. So that was great. There were many doctors and many experts speaking on menopause. And so that was really cool. And I don't have much to add because I already talked about it. And it was really validating. Like everything I said in the hormone episode part 2 is like backed by science. Any doctor who is worth her salt is saying these things. And these are for, menopause, but also for when we talk about menopause, a lot of times we're talking about aging well, right? And aging or longevity, not just longevity for the sake of being alive, but health span, being healthy as we age. And so I just wanted to reiterate a couple of things that I thought were really, that they all highlighted. And I think this is really important, is any movement is better than no movement, and try to move with weights. So if you are walking, if you can ruck, which is, holding a weighted vest or something like that, that's awesome. If your weighted vest is your toddler or your baby, that counts. And if you're walking with dumbbells, that counts. So it's okay. And you want to just slowly get heavier. That's all. The best thing you need to start doing is sprinting, not steady state cardio. It burns your visceral fat, which is the fat around your internal organs. And that's the most dangerous fat. So like the subcutaneous fat is like the fat like that we see that we can binge, right? That's actually not bad for you. It's the stuff that accumulates around your internal organs. And so sprinting does that. It doesn't wear you out. It doesn't burn off muscle, which steady state cardio does. And the other thing was jumping. You have to jump. So if you're just jumping in place, using a rebounder, box jumps, broad jumps, jumping jacks, air squats, anything like that. And that is for your bone density. So I loved coming out of that with, knowing that like I'm totally on the right track and I did not steer you guys wrong. There's science behind it all. So, yay on that. All right, let's jump in. And I wanted to start this whole slow summer warnings and slow summer stuff with Cal Newport. So I was listening to a podcast the other day with Cal Newport, and it was actually Tim Ferriss, who does very long form podcasts, like 3 hours. I enjoy those long forms. And so Cal Newport is an author, and he wrote Deep Work. He also wrote Digital Minimalism. I've done a podcast a long time ago on digital minimalism, that book. And his newest book is called Slow Productivity. And so he was talking to Tim Ferriss. And what's interesting about this guy is he is one of the most sought after speakers, one of the most sought after personalities. His whole focus really is on minimizing our distractions, really, harnessing the power of deep work and what that means. And his new book, Slow Productivity, is really fighting against this like turn and burn hustle culture for creation. And that, all great pieces of art, literature, music, for the most part, have taken place when somebody holds up, kind of puts on blinders. He doesn't have any social media, and he's still the most sought after speaker, and his books are wildly popular, but he knows that if he were to take on social media in any way, shape, or form, it would be the biggest distraction ever. I think he might have X, but he said he's like rarely on it. And so he was talking about, like the Sistine Chapel, the David, like, all the great novels. These were not done in a weekend. And so this hustle culture that we're in right now has us believing that everything is fast, turn and burn, turn and burn. And as he was talking, he was really talking about the artistry of slow productivity, of producing something over time with care, with deep attention to it, and not being distracted. And I couldn't help but make the parallels to parenting, and how one of the things I think that's happening for all of us is rushing, not just rushing daily, but I see this in parenting and I see this in potty training as well. This idea of like, check the box and be done. Oh, learn to ride a bike, check. Potty train, when is this kid going to be done? Okay, like we're not doing it for the sake of the journey. And we know, right? We know with any endeavor, running a marathon, it's not the marathon. It's the journey of getting to the marathon. For me, it's not the Spartan beast. It's the journey of getting to the beast, right? The Sistine Chapel was the journey of doing the Sistine Chapel. And parenting is the journey. It's not the check boxes. It's not the being done with this phase, this age. It's you're an artist. You guys are artists, and you're creating is the wrong word, but you're helping shape the most beautiful art project ever. And not that your child's an art project, but like if we start putting it in these terms, I think it will help us all slow down and appreciate, yeah, the fucking tantrums suck. I know. Yes, the emotional volatility sucks. I know. The sleepless nights, there is inherent hardness, of course, but this idea of like this slow, beautiful project of parenting, right? And with anything, with any project, look, I've written 3 books now. It takes a long time. It really does. And a lot of it is shit. You have to just show up every day and you write. And that's literally the best advice I can give you if you want to write a book. You got to show up at a set hour and write. And some of it's going to be shit and some of it's going to be channeled inspiration that you don't even know where it came from. But you have to show up. If you are pursuing a creative endeavor like that, or even if you look at your parenting as a creative endeavor, I highly suggest The War of Art, a book by Stephen Pressfield, and he brings up the muses, the mythological muses, and he said they're real and they come to show up, but they show up only if you show up. And I think that's parenting, right? We show up. And I have always said parenting is a practice. It's like if you've ever taken a yoga class with any regularity or worked out or whatever, there's some days you can hold tree pose just wonderfully for 8 minutes. And there's other times where you can't even get your foot on your leg, you're falling over, like, but you show up on your mat. And with your creative endeavor of parenting, we show up, right? We show up tired, we show up frustrated, we just show up. And the way you're parenting is a practice. And unfortunately, by the time you get very, very, very good at it, your child will be 19 like mine. And even then, I'm still showing up, but with imperfections. And when you know that there are times that it's just going to be shit, it doesn't mean you rush through it. It means you just show up with consistency the next day. And so I hope, I don't know, I hope that maybe, I feel like in this day and age today, in this particular year, I feel like parenting is just reaching a pinnacle of frustration and loneliness and a lot of pain for moms, especially. And so I feel like if we can imbue ourselves with the sacred task that is in front of us, which please do not mistake parenting for anything less than a sacred task of helping raise another human being, and we imbue it with this love and the slow productivity And sometimes we have to put blinders on to the rest of the fucking world because we're doing what's best for our kid. We're doing what's best for our family. And sometimes we have to, blot out the naysayers and let go of family members and all that. We've talked a lot about that, but I hope that maybe fills you with a little bit more compassion for yourself and a little bit more patience for the long road that you're towing, but how gratifying that long road is. So yeah, I hope, thank you for coming to my inspirational TED Talk. I really do. I was so inspired listening to him when it put it in the frame of parenting, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'm an artist with a creative endeavor known as Pascal. All right, so let's talk about. I have a couple of warnings before summer, and I know it's just early May, very early May, but I think it's worth warning because pretty soon, number one, you're going to be barraged on the internet and social media with the idea of slow summer, and I love the idea of slow summers. The problem is the way often it is phrased is very crushing if you are working outside the home, particularly to moms. But if both parents are working outside the home, it feels very crushing. It feels very attacking. Like my kid has to go to camp. My kid has to go to preschool. My kid has to go, to a day program. I see a lot of inviting online. And so I just want to give you guys a hug, and you can still have a slow summer, even if you are working outside the home and your child has to go to a full-time program. That's okay. So slow summer is just taking it easy. And I find one of the things that is happening, and this is particular when both parents work outside the home, is intensity over consistency. And so what happens, right? I talked about that with working out, that consistency always beats intensity. So it's better to do 10 minutes every day than do nothing for 2 weeks, right? Consistency always wins. Study habits, whatever you're doing, creative endeavor, right? And so I find that when parents are both working outside the home, there's a lot of guilt, especially for mom, right? That then the summer should be packed. We're going to go to Disney, and then we're going to go to Turks and Caicos, and then we're going to do this, and we're going to go to my grandmother's beach house. And there's a lot of intensity. It doesn't have to be like that. Consistently showing up for your kid. That's all they want, you guys. They want you. They want time with you. All the bedtime stalling is to get more time with you. I'll harken back to the first few months of the pandemic in 2020, in March, April, May. I was working with a full client load, and everybody was going out of their minds. Of course, we had to try to manage Zoom work with Zoom school. It was craziness. But parents of toddlers consistently said, I've never seen my toddler so happy. I've never seen my kid so happy. It's almost like they don't like all the activities they're in. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. Yes, these kids, toddlers especially, and I'm not saying everybody fared well after the pandemic, and toddlers still had there were some ramifications to lockdowns, absolutely. But especially in the beginning, this was their dream scenario, being home with their parents. And so that's all they want from you. So if they're in daycare full time, and if you're working full time, that's okay. But just remember that you don't have to make up for it by getting them in enriching activities or spectacular vacations. Barefoot in the backyard. If you can find a park with a creek, oh my God, kids can sit by a creek forever. Go for slow walks that aren't for your step count, that are for, finding bugs. Try to find fireflies at night. One of the things I always recommend is every year I say this, Pascal and I decided we were going to make a chart on the best ice cream places. So several times a week we had ice cream for dinner because we had research to do. Yeah, ice cream for dinner is a research in this case. So just let that be known, okay? But we ended up making detailed charts and a spreadsheet, which also taught him how to graph things, right? And we, he figured out what was the common denominator of the top 10 places we loved. Oh, they were handmade on premise. Okay. We asked ingredients, and we found out that it was a higher buttermilk content, but basically we had ice cream for dinner. And so these things, if you live by where you can travel very, not too far to go kayaking or these kinds of things, that's all your kid wants. And that's all a slow summer is. So I encourage you to think along those lines and to please not take, again, this is mostly if you're on social media, it just gets really inflammatory because, people post for clickbait. So they put really inflammatory shit like my kids are, going to have lots of free time this summer. And it can make you feel really guilty if your kid is in something structured because you have to work. So I just wanted to wave my magic wand and alleviate you of all that mom guilt. I'm alleviating all of it, by the way, with this magic wand. Let's just get rid of all of it because the mom guilt is too much. It's heavy right now. If you are planning some trips, please, please, please do this. Please, as you're planning, build in a several day buffer for your children when you get home, particularly if you are doing something that's wildly out of routine and if you're changing time zones. So every year it's a little shocking to me. I'll be working with families and they are going on vacation to Italy, to Switzerland, to Greece, to wherever from the US, and they are skidding in on two wheels on Sunday afternoon. Their kid has a 6-hour time difference, jet lag, and they might, maybe take Monday, but then the kid has to go back to daycare or preschool on Tuesday or even Monday. But please make sure you build in a really big buffer. And even if you're not doing extensive time zones, if you're going to the beach with your family reunion and your kid's going to have cousins and there's going to be, playing at the beach till it's dark and then fireworks and barbecue and everybody out on the deck. Like if that's happening, your child's going to be wildly out of routine and they're going to need some time to get back to it. On that note, if you are potty training or your child has to be potty trained, you have to freaking carve some time before the deadline. So every year this happens, okay? And right now we're looking at the beginning of May. If your child needs to be in a camp or summer program where they're fully potty trained, you needed to start yesterday. Get on that because you have to build in a lot of time, okay? If your child has to be fully potty trained by August or September for a preschool, you need to start June 1st, the latest, okay? You got to give your child time to solidify these skills. Any skills they need for the next year have to be solidified early on. Potty training is not a transferable skill, okay? Just because you get 3 days at home and your kid's doing great, it doesn't mean they're going to go great at camp or their summer program. So please do that. And then again, on the weekends, you guys, if you need ideas, you can create little summer camps, have your kids, your friends, there I am losing my words again, your kids' friends come over. It's always better with more people. And that we'll get into too. I wanted to talk a little bit, this is going back to the village. Oh, by the way, you guys. Okay. So I'm pitching a new book to my agent and I don't have a working title yet. I'm stepping out of the Oh Crap series, but something to do with the parenting hustle, burnout, and where the fuck is the village. And so one of the things that would help me is if you guys could let me know that you would like me to write this book and I can show those statements to my agent because that is helpful to know that people want a book that will help them with these things. But when we come to the village, right, building a village, which is really building community, summer is a really good time to do that or to maintain some, if your child's on a break from preschool or maybe, during preschool, they have to go to preschool or daycare or something like that. Or you can host little events. This is a perfect time to try to capture the longer hours of daylight. Hopefully you, mom and dad, won't be so stressed with the sunlight and without all the winter gear, right? So I would use summer as a time to think about building that community because it's such a great way to have, it's a great time to have people over your house. If you have a pool, you need to have everybody come over, right? You want to start gathering people. I think the summer months just make it easier. Number one, everybody's just fucking happier. Like everybody's happier when they have sunlight. And again, we have longer hours. Everybody's more chill. Everybody's more relaxed. And so I think it's just a really good opportunity to plan some cool local, maybe visit a lake or a watering hole or nature hikes or things like that. So now's your time to get out and do that. And it can be hard. But I don't know if you've experienced this, but I certainly did. Having people over always made it better. Just more kids made it easier because they were more contained. And yes, did we have to, supervise? And yes, there were more, there's, the bitches and the not sharing, and there's conflict, of course, but it always made it easier because then my kid wasn't up my ass. So if your kid's up your ass, get other kids. That's like what you have to do. And it also, like, what's happening, guys, is we're isolating so much that we're modeling to our kids. We're not modeling friendship to our kids. So that is one of the things that's happening with this, like, loss of village. We've become lonely. We've really dependent after the pandemic on digital devices. And we have an online community, the Oh Crap Cafe, and I love that, but that does not replace in person. And we've become so isolated, and then our kids are isolated, right? And we're not mimicking or not mimicking, but modeling how to have friendships, because friendships are up and down. And, you can share. I've had many waves of friends come and go, and, conflict with friends that Pascal's gotten to see me handle and model. And we talk about it, and I've talked about a few of them here on the podcast. So it is really important. Like, if you're hearing me say this and you're like, yeah, okay, Jamie, great. But, like, my kid really struggles with interactions. Like, it's not fun for me to have other kids because, like, the whole time I have to just, like, watch like a hawk. I would invite you to, number one, do you have to watch like a hawk? Because that's the hypervigilant parenting that is so ubiquitous right now. But if you do, it means your child probably needs more interaction. And this is tricky. And somebody's got to be the leader here. And I know I say this all the time. I know I present as an extrovert, but I really am an introvert. But the one thing I am is I am courageous, and I am not afraid to start something good. And so I've shared tips in the past of how I've been, like, pretty aggressive about finding friends and community, and knowing that they would be for a season. It wouldn't necessarily be all the time. You know what I mean? And these wouldn't be my best friends forever. But a lot of times I am shocked. Every fucking mother I talk to, and I'll post something on Instagram and comments go crazy. Every single one of us is experiencing loneliness. Every single one of us doesn't have help. Every single one of us is like, where's the village? So what the fuck is happening? So it takes some courage to be like, all right, I'll start the village. I'll start a kickball game on Thursday nights at the park. I'll start a neighborhood thing. Hey, everybody come to my house for a cookout, and maybe we can switch houses. Like, you have to have the courage to start this so that you get filled and your kid gets filled. And then that's how we start releasing more oxytocin for us, right? That's how we feel loved and supported, even if it's not like our best friends. And it doesn't have to be somebody who loves and supports you all the time. It doesn't have to be your ride or die. It doesn't have to be the person who's going to be there for you. Just talking to people. Shit, I talk to people at the grocery store all the time because, like, I talk to everybody, but I also live in the woods. I am in severe danger of becoming the crazy lady in the cabin in the woods. And so I have to be very cautious to leave the home and go see the people. And that means some days I feel like working out at home, and I'm like, get your ass to the gym because you know who's going to be there. You are going to talk to people at the gym. I go to the market excessively because I have to go see the people, because otherwise I'm going to get weirder than I am. And that's not a good thing. So I encourage you guys to, like, maybe think of this summer as the summer, like, slow summer, yes, but also, instead of, like, traveling or trying to, give your kid all these experiences, can you give them the experience that drive-in movie? Put a projector, a sheet up on your garage door and get a projector. They're not expensive, and you can have movie night for the neighborhood kids. Oh my God, you'll be the hit of the neighborhood. But think outside the box and try to get this village rolling, whether it's, people driving in, or your neighborhood, whatever you can do. And it's hard. Other people are in sports, other people are doing their thing, but it sounds like it's something to add to your plate, but it's not, because it's good. The dividends are so fucking huge. Like, community, community, community. We all need it. And I can't quite understand how everybody I talk to doesn't have it and wants it. So that means everybody is, like, being too quiet. Everybody's being too shy. You don't have the luxury of being shy, guys. We have mental health crisis fucking through the roof with parents. Worse, we have it through the roof with our kids. So this is serving no one. All right. I think that's it. All right, you guys, as always, I love you. I thank you for listening. Rock on and have a beautiful day.
Okay, bye everyone. Just a reminder, if you need additional resources, I have Oh Crap Potty Training. I have Oh Crap, I Have a Toddler. Those books are available everywhere you want to find a book. You can also go to my website, jamieglowacki.com, where you can book private sessions with me, buy any of my courses. Those are really geared towards potty training help. And also I'm on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook anymore and I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, jamie.glowacki, and I do a lot of lives and usually posting a lot of good information. So those are extra resources for you. And as always, rock on. Have an awesome day.